Next panel is Enhancing Luxury Beauty, and I'd like to ask, oops, my phone goes on the ground. I'd like to ask Isabelle Bonfanti, Violaine Gressier, and Simone Gibertoni to come and join me here on the stage. Hi. Isabel's not here, no.
Hello, everybody.
Hi.
Hello.
Well, this theme, we're going to be looking at trends and strategies for advancing the luxury beauty industry. And of course, we'll learn about the latest innovations driving growth. Ce thème explore les tendances et les stratégies visant à faire progresser l'industrie de la beauté de luxe. Nous allons découvrir les dernières innovations qui stimulent la croissance. We don't have to speak in French all the time, though. Now, perhaps if you'd like to introduce yourselves, Violaine and Simone first. Violaine, ladies first.
I'm not sure that yeah.
It is working, yeah.
Hello, everyone. I am Violaine Gressier. I manage the luxury business at Meta, based in Paris. So it's an exception française to manage such global business from Paris, because, as you know, many luxury groups are headquartered or in Paris or in Switzerland or in Italy. So globally, it's been 7 years now that I try to accompany luxury groups, beauty groups, on our platforms, WhatsApp, Messenger, Facebook, and Instagram, and really to show them what we think of the future, how they should enhance our platforms, and so on.
Okay.
Simone Gibertoni from Clinique La Prairie, which is not far from here in Montreux, in fact. And I'm running the clinic since 2016, starting to create this ecosystem, health ecosystem, longevity ecosystem around the client, building clinics and longevity hub and supplement for our clients all over the world.
Okay, now, of course, Clinique La Prairie, everybody knows La Prairie, the brand, the clinic is amazing. What makes it really different, the clinics? Because, I mean, you have numerous medical experts there. It's beauty, it's wellness. It's how would you describe it in a couple of sentences?
It's a unique mix of ingredients since 90 years. So it's been the first clinic basically treating healthy people already with the founder, which was called Niance. And today is offering quite a unique environment. We have only 35 rooms for 350 people of staff, clients, a very small number of clients, less than 2,000 per year coming from 80 countries. And like you said, a very, very strong medical staff. We have over 50 doctors in the clinics. And this ability to follow the clients throughout we like to say throughout their life journey. No, so
we're talking here. I mean, wellness is a very fast-growing industry. I mean, we've seen the Global Wellness Institute, which is taking off very big time. You have a couple of major projects also, I know, in Saudi Arabia, in China, in Dubai. It's sort of going worldwide.
Yes. Yeah, this idea, Richard, we started from the question, usually people are coming to a clinic 1 week or 2 weeks every year. So the question was, how can we follow up in the long term? And for us, it was very important to build this longevity hub that we are building in the main cities in the world. If you are able to be, now we have already 5, we're going to be 7 in the next few months. If you are able to build 40 hubs in the top cities, it means that we are able to be very near to 90% of our clients, and then we are building other clinics to be able to offer our services. Having only 34 rooms in Switzerland, of course, is very reduced. So we are offering our services to a broader number of clients. And then on top of the clinic, the longevity hub in the cities, we developed this line of supplement, which is another way for us to bring the technology to our clients. So the idea, again, is not putting the services or the product first, but asking ourselves, how can we help? Our mission is helping people living a longer, healthier, and better life. How can we do it in a way which really makes sense and is really changing the behavior of the client? You cannot do 1 week per year. There is still this mindset, oh my God, I do whatever I want throughout the year because then I go 1 week at La Prairie. That's not how it works. Our point was, how can we change the life of our clients in the long term?
Okay. Violaine, you've got I know when we spoke before this session, you have an extraordinary background in very varied industries. Tell me a bit about your background and how that sort of changes the way you look at things.
Okay, so I started at Club Méditerranée, which is the high-end resort company. Was working in the licensing department, so really trying to develop the turnover, by leveraging the brand and signing partnerships and licensing agreement. And I joined Europa Corp, which is Luc Besson production company. I joined on a movie. I don't know if it's a lot of people knows about it, but it's called Arthur and the Minimoys. It was a very ambitious animated movie, and Luc Besson is a French director, but he came from the US. He's very successful in the US, and he knew that he wanted to sign a global partnership with marketing companies, which would not take the right, production rights, because when you're a producer, what you want to do is really keep, most of the rights for you. So we signed first with BNP Paribas, the global French bank, and then we signed also with Orange. So back at the time, it was in 2006. So it was, digital was what we call new media, and the fact to work with Orange, I suddenly realized that marketing would be totally different. We developed a website, we developed a WAP, which was the mobile web at the time, and so I realized that it would change drastically the way company would do marketing. And then I had I worked in two startups, and then I decided to join Meta to develop the luxury business. And I think the fact that I worked for an entertainment company like Europa Corp really helped me also understand how do you create amazing 360 activation? How do you try to be culturally relevant when you're a luxury brand?
Now you're talking about all forms of luxury, is that correct? Like everything that's luxury?
Yeah, basically what we do is that we accompany the main groups, be them beauty groups or luxury groups, in their journey at Meta. Mm-hmm.
What are the trends at the moment in that respect with Meta? What is trending and what is innovating in?
I would say innovation is of course at the forefront of at the core of all that we do. I would say AI is really the hot topic right now, and AI in two things. You have AI, because we had to rebuild our ads engine, as you know. iOS 14 was a big bummer for our company because we don't deal with data as we used to do. So now AI has really enabled us to go back with a very strong trend in terms of performance, as you may have seen in the news. So AI is for our ad engine, but also AI for our discovery engine. And I don't know if you're familiar with Reels, which are those short-form video that are really, really, really trending on our platform. It's a new, relatable, authentic grammar for young people. And in fact, what you have for Reels, which is pretty new to our platform, is the fact that Reels is a way to have a stronger reach, because AI will push this content not just to people who are connected to you, but also to other people. So it's also a discovery engine, based on AI.
AI is the buzzword at the moment, isn't it? Or the buzz term. I mean, Simone, are you working with AI at all?
Sure. In longevity, there is a very important step, which is the diagnostic part. So what do you do before you start the treatment? And today we have very interesting technology, for example, in the imaging in the imaging technologies, which are using artificial intelligence to basically understand as fast as you can which could be the disease that you could develop on time. And then, of course, there is all the big chapter of genetic, epigenetic, all the research that we can do on genetic, epigenetic. But again, now all these new technology are very much focused on the diagnostic part, which is the first step before the treatment in the longevity therapies. And I would say, Richard, today we had the anti-age word, which was the word that we had a few years ago. Now you were talking about wellness and beauty. Today I would say that the new keyword here in this industry is longevity again.
So how do you see that, Violaine?
Now, what's interesting that, of course, we all know that we have now a virtual try-on. I think that we'll be able also to make skin diagnosis through AR filter and so on. And so I think thanks to this technology, we have entered in a way which is, of course, it's an omni-channel era, but I would say it's also a multi-dimensional era. So you have to be able to try on a product, be it on your mobile or be it in store. So it's very interesting because I think this technology really enables us to go really, really beyond just omnicanality.
Do people? So how does it actually work at Clinique La Prairie when someone goes in for a diagnosis? They can see themselves with a better skin. How does that?
Is much more sophisticated than this. Now, when you talk about for us, luxury is in fact hyper customization of what we do, and that goes again up to the analysis of the DNA, the genetic footprint, the epigenetic. And what we do is always at the beginning this very deep diagnostic part, which is then followed up by the therapies, but therapies which are again very much focused on you. So the point for us, we say that our, let's say, luxury is, we call it 3C, customization, competence, and care. I always say that if you come to the clinic, you have a wonderful room, you have a wonderful view on the lake, but people are not coming back to a longevity clinic if they don't get a result. So at the end, for us, the core of what we do is to deliver a result, and we do it through the diagnostic, through the therapies, and the customization.
So how do they physically see the results? They feel better.
They feel better. They see themselves better. They feel better, and they feel better in the long time. And that's why we have in our case 64% of our clients which are coming back every year. So we have 64% of our clients which are returning clients, and again they are returning because they feel the effect of what they do.
No more brain fog.
No more brain fog. Not only this. Yes, exactly.
Exactly. Now, Violaine, you've been working on a lot of global partnerships with luxury brands. Tell me a little bit about that.
Overall, our job is really to accompany the global luxury brands to understand how we move. Take it like 7 years ago, I think, most of the luxury groups see us as a media company. They were invested, in terms of media. They wanted to do ads on our platform. But I think, we saw the curve of, the digitalization, being even more steady every year. And I think has been really interesting that we started, speaking to the media teams, and now we speak to the CRM team, to the e-commerce team, and up to the CEO, because they invest such a lot of money. They have to understand how to make, also to collect first-party data. So I think we are really a partner of digitalization of this global luxury group. And, being French, I think it's also really interesting to be this bridge in between a big American tech company and those, most of the time, European luxury groups.
Why did they base it in Paris? Was it for that reason, just out of interest?
Why are they based in Paris?
Yeah.
Because luxury is in France. It's like for historical reason, for sure.
For sure. So it's all about new ways of communicating, right? I mean, it's
new way of communicating, of selling, of this, because take 10 years ago, we wouldn't have imagined that we would be able to sell a lipstick on mobile or to buy a lipstick on mobile. If you being a user. So I think what we try to understand. We are a company which is totally focused on how the users behave, and we build products based on what we observe. We spend our time observing how people react on our platform. So, for instance, we created tagged posts because we could see people tapping on a picture in order to get more information when they saw a product. So, all the time we try to build new features that will enable the customer journey, facilitate the customer journey, I would say.
So it's high. I think we had the term before, high-touch digital, right? So it's really evolving that way where people can get right into it in a lot of different ways.
I would say, yeah, and especially the younger generation. I think they are able to do more spontaneous purchases. So if they want to. If they discover a product and if they want to convert immediately, then we want to enable that. So the idea is really how do you drive people in store, how do you drive people online, and above all, how do you build brands? Because for luxury, I would say that the primary goal is to build brands.
VR is the other term as well. I mean, we're using a lot of VR in different ways. Tell me a little bit about how you use VR.
We're still at the early stages. I would say. So we are focused on building headsets, Quest. We are about to relaunch a new headset. The idea for us is to have a price point which will enable the majority of the population to have a headset. So first, this is really because everything that we do is at scale. So if you want to have VR at scale, you need to have people to have a headset. But then I think the main focus is how do you work with VR? How do you really connect with your colleagues, and you don't need to travel, over the globe to work all together. So VR is the first focus is really companies and how do you work together, and then you have a lot of different areas where like education, even for training for employees. There are lots of opportunities. I think it's still early stage because I think we still need to have a lot of headsets, inside the companies, inside the population, and then see what are the main use cases.
Okay, just coming back to you, Simone. I'd like you just to tell me briefly about the new clinic that you're setting up in Saudi Arabia, because it's quite amazing on the Red Sea coast.
Yeah, for us, our high-touch digital is not digital, it's physical, in fact. So that's why for us was very important, as I was telling you, to build this network. And as you can imagine, was a very intensive move for us, both the Longevity Hub, which are the center that we are building in the cities, and this clinic. But again, our clients, they want really to have a human contact, and the competence of the people is what is making the difference for us. By the way, in terms of health app, unfortunately the drop of the usage and the effectiveness is still very, very low. There is a drop of 80% after the first 12 months in terms of the health app that are helping you in theory to improve your behavior from a longevity standpoint. And yes, we started this project already a few years ago in Saudi. It's probably going to be the biggest project in wellness and longevity ever done, because it's over 300 million. And we are going to start, we have just started building in Amala, which I know is a place that you know, Richard. And it's going to be due in 2 years' time. So it's going to be for sure a very interesting place. Again, just 50 rooms, for a very big development, very personalized medicine. There is all this very strong medical part in it. So I think it's going to be amazing. While China is going to be ready in 6 months. We started the project more than 3 years ago. It's 2 hours from Shanghai, 28 villas with a very big medical part. So again, very exclusive in terms of number of clients. So we are able to follow in a very personalized way each clients, and it's going to be ready in a few months.
So when people go to these clinics, they stay how long in general? A week, 2 weeks?
The big clinics like Montreux, which we call it health resort, is minimum 1 week, and you can stay from 1 week to more than 1 week, but you cannot stay less than 1 week because otherwise you are not able to complete all the diagnostic and the therapy part. Then you have products that are following you, that we personalize for you for at least 1 month when you leave the clinics. While the Longevity Hub are clinics, we have Doha, Bangkok, Madrid, now we're opening Dubai and Taipei. These are places where you go every day. If not every day, we try to stick to at least twice a week, and you find all our 4 pillars, which are medical, nutrition, well-being, and movement. So all the therapies in the 4 pillars, even in the city center.
Longevity is something that we've heard a lot about, and I've read some interesting books, as I was saying. I mean, what do you, looking, say, 10, 20, 30 years ahead, how long will people be living, and will they be living well?
That's a good question. We were discussing the other day, because in reality, longevity today is very trendy, as we say, but unfortunately, if you look at statistics, our society is not going in the right direction. If you take United States, UK, the life expectancy is reducing, unfortunately, in the last 3 years, not increasing. The chronic diseases are increasing in average, especially due to nutrition, as you know. So that's a good question. I would say that there are a few steps which are important to develop. The diagnostic part is for sure one of them. But then making a medicine, we call it medicine 3.0, which is much more focused on the person than on a disease. A medicine which is much more focused on changing the behavior than on simply on the tactics. No? Everybody knows how we should eat, but why we don't do it? That's another question.
Violaine, is this something that you have any grip on in what you're doing, the longevity thing? I mean, how can people involved in that get involved?
Meta could help us a lot to change for the right behaviors, no?
Yeah.
It's a
It's a difficult. It's quite a different field, right? I mean,
what's funny is that if you take the relationship of time in a tech American company and with luxury, it's totally the opposite. So what we try to do is really try to, make the most of, the two kind of companies. But I would say that, social media platform, it's all about immediacy. I'm not sure that we think, take even the plan. We don't have like a 15-year-old plan. So the relationship with time is, I would say, totally different.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit more about how you work with luxury brands when it comes to creative marketing. Now coming back to Meta, when they come to you and talk to you, they need your advice, right? I mean, not everybody has the right ideas. How much are you the motor of the ideas for them rather than them coming to you with ideas?
I mean, they're all, most of the time, because we are speaking of big luxury groups, so they know what they do. What we try to explain is, how users' behaviors evolve, how people, what type of content they look for. Take, like, for instance, the creators. It's a trend that is here to stay. So which creator do you choose? How do you work with them? So we are not entering into the agreement that they have between each other, but at least we can understand what are the influencers that are relevant to the company. Explain also that we believe that it's a trend that is here to stay. Business messaging, for instance, is a new. It's still not totally tackled. So the idea is, because of a lot of different things, but also because of EMEA regulation, we are just at the beginning of the go-to-market. How do you work with business messaging? Do you have to work with third-party company, which is obviously the case today? So really, we try to explain the whole ecosystem and try to choose the best solution for our partners, knowing that we are also based on test and learn, because what works for a company doesn't work for another one. So the idea is to create a trustful relationship in order to really have them succeed on our platforms.
And how much is construction of brand image and how much is actual direct marketing? I mean, there's the two different ways of doing it, right?
This is the challenge. It depends on the brand, on the company. Clearly, for luxury, the brand is the main asset. So everything that you do has to build the brand, has to be really totally. You don't want to damage the brand at any cost. Of course, what we know for sure is that performance is a key asset of our platforms. So how do you create purchases? How do you make value? How do you build your brand asset and your driver sales? It's clearly, the sweet spot of what we want to reach.
Okay. Speed of marketing is the other thing as well. We were talking about that. You can be very quick to get a new idea to market. Is this very important today?
For us, it's really, really important because competition is everywhere. So we have to be quick to react. For our luxury partners, it depends. So sometimes they will jump on a beta that we will propose. Sometimes they will say, no, it's not for me. So again, it's also a question. I was speaking of, the difference in timing. We totally understand that. So we try to propose opportunities, and we understand if they don't want to take them because it's not a good fit.
Now, everything that you do is based on your databases, really, isn't it? And I know in March 2021, you lost access to a lot of data because of a change in the rules in the USA. How much did that affect what you're doing, and how did you get around that?
Well, it's what I said previously. In fact, so I think that the whole digital ads ecosystem changed because of iOS 14 and Apple app tracking transparency policy. I think today our platforms don't rely as much as they did on data, and we rely more and more on AI. So all our performance family suite is really built on AI, and I think that it has proven, and it's proving right now its effectiveness, because our results are again back to what they were, less than 2 years ago.
Tell me about technology. We were talking about AI, Simone, but what other technologies do you use that help you move forward and innovate in what you're doing? Is there any new tech ideas?
Yeah, let's say for us, innovation, as you can imagine, is taking much more time because you need to run through a lot of testing, and we are now, for example, launching a new program which is called Brain Health. It's a program that is in our pipeline since 4 years. And of course, you need time to test the new technologies, the new therapies. You want to be sure that these therapies are working. Then, of course, you need to find the balance. We are now introducing a new technology related to sound, low-wave sound. And we have introduced, when we got some very interesting result on testing, but we are now introducing, we are still testing this technology. So for us, of course, innovation is very important. I was talking about diagnostic. We've been the first clinic in the world to introduce genetic for all our clients, and we've been the first clinic in the world to do epigenetic test. The epigenetic test is basically the test is telling you how your genes are expressing. So it's very important to understand what is your lifestyle related to then what you can do to improve the gene expression. So just to tell you that yes, it's very important for us, with the caveat that we have always the doctors and we have always the scientific part which needs to be taken into account, because you want to do things which are proven to work. Otherwise, there are a lot of marketing stuff out there in our field which are in reality not working.
Just out of interest, in the audience, and we'll in a moment we'll also throw things back to the audience, like we were saying before. Just hands up, how many here actively taking supplements to prolong their life or to live longer? Quite a few. So this is interesting, right? So did you think there would be that many?
You see, supplement, if you would have asked how many people are using a cream, you would have much more people. And, that's the difference, for example, between cream and supplement.
Yeah. I'm talking about supplements.
Exactly, because supplement, we are still at the beginning of this market. We have been, as you know, with Holistic Health, the first company to do a supplement in the luxury space, where we didn't want to any compromise on the quality. But of course, it's supplement are at the starting point. Woman in the morning doesn't have to think about putting a cream, or in the evening, it just has to think about which cream I'm using. Supplement is different. Supplement, sometimes you take, sometimes you forget, and then you say, don't buy because I have the drawer which is full of supplement. So we are at the beginning, and of course, for me, what you put inside is much more important than what you put outside. So supplement for me are the future.
But I think, though, in recent years, there's been, and we were talking about that as well, some amazing studies on the way cells work in terms of reproducing genetic material. And they know a lot more about that now, which is why using supplements like NMN, we were talking about nicotinamide mononucleotide, very interesting, because you can actually really see results with that, and that's still at the very early stages, right?
Absolutely.
What other things are people taking to lengthen their life? What sort of supplements? Can you talk about that?
There are a lot of supplements in the market. What we are, our line, we decided to. There are supplements that we call it fit it all, that they tell you that are doing everything. We decided to use a different kind of, if you want, strategy. So we have supplement for anti-age, to make it simple, for longevity. We have supplement for detoxification. We have supplement for sleeping better. So different type of supplement depending on the needs. The point is, like always, like in the cosmetic, is what you put inside and how active are the ingredients that you put inside and where the ingredients are coming from. You can have a curcumin that costs $1 and a curcumin that costs $50. So in the packaging is always the same name, but then the quality what makes the difference.
But the hard thing right now, and I've noticed this myself and probably everybody else, is with supplements, it's very difficult to know, apart from the fact if it's a good brand, but how do you know if it's good or not?
Yeah, sure. Also because the tests are not always made on the supplement, are made on the ingredients, but not on the final supplement. So I would suggest to use supplement which has been tested to prove, and with ingredients which are let's say as pure as possible in a sense. And of course, this supplement, these are what I can tell you are usually expensive.
Yes, they are. Getting back to, and we're going from one to the other now, but getting back to Meta, how do people develop content in a creative way today? What should people be doing? Is it all going to video? What are the new trends?
About people or about brands?
Companies, brands.
No, company. Yeah. I think luxury brands have been amazing, clearly, at understanding how to do their storytelling also on our platform. So it changed totally drastically. Take a TV spot, you have, an intrigue at the beginning, and then suddenly you have a reveal at the end. Whereas on our platform, it's totally the opposite. You have to have the brand straight away, understanding the message very quickly, because, most of, in 2 or 3 seconds, you have to have your message out. That's what's working. So it's more snackable, very quick. But I'm always amazed by all the ads that we see on our platforms. I think one of there are 2 big challenges, I would say, today for luxury brands. I mentioned the creators. So how do you work with influencers/creators that build their own content, based on your brand? What do you allow, what you don't allow? It's always complicated, but it's what makes your brand culturally relevant today. So it's very interesting because it's also it's a new way of speaking of the brand, and it's totally complementary. If you take a classic campaign with just the brand communication, and then you add some influencer content to it, then in terms of brand awareness, in terms of impact of your ads, it's always more powerful. And I would say that the new challenge that we have in terms of creativity is generative AI. So we are just at the beginning of generative AI. We released something that is called AI Sandbox, which allows you to have new different fonts, to adapt your creative. I think we are not yet there with a luxury company, because clearly what they want to control is their creative, but they are clearly open to it. This is what's very interesting today with a luxury company. I think if you take 15 years ago, they were a bit afraid of digital, and it took a little bit of time for them to lean.
Now everyone's afraid of AI.
No, they're not. And they want to try, and they want to understand how to make the most of it. So clearly, there's a big difference in terms of paradigm when you work with them, because now they are totally eager to innovate. And I think they understand also that their customers, they are also very, very digitalized, very eager, for more innovation and so on. So they want to be where their customers are. So it's a field of opportunities, even if I think we are not totally yet there. But maybe Laetitia will speak about that tomorrow, because I guess for AI, I guess you're testing things.
Yeah, and I think someone said the other day that the genie is out of the bottle now; you can't put him back in. So that's the way it is. Simone, how are you using social media for marketing?
Not a lot.
Or
I tell you,
it's
our no, but this is because when you sell a service like us a week, what we do at the clinic is depending on the program, but between 30 and 100,000 per week per person. Our marketing has to be a word of mouth marketing. So we rely 90% of the clients coming to us and coming to our center. They came because they hear a friend. You come back what we want is that you come back from the clinic. You sit at the table with your friends and you say, "Wow, my God, I had an incredible experience."
But wealthy people, for example, use social media. I mean, they post on different,
a lot.
And
so they post, they post about their stay. They post, but when I ask people coming to the new clients coming to the clinics, why did you came? They don't answer because I saw a post about you. They say because I have a friend of mine who came 3 weeks ago, and she told me you have to come. You have to go to Clinique La Prairie. This has changed my life.
But a new place in Saudi Arabia, a new place in China. How are you going to market those ones?
We are talking about China, 28 room for 1.4 billion people, and Saudi, 47 room for Middle East. Let's say the capacity they have and the need that they have for longevity therapy. So we are talking about a very, very small market. Again, in Switzerland, we have 1,700 clients per year. So I think our logic is a little bit different from this point of view, also because we are a small company. It's not only because we are a small company, so we don't have a lot of money to throw into advertising or...
Time now for questions and answers. As we said, we're throwing a few things out into the audience, getting this great mastermind group to work for us here in the room. Who has, in the audience, does someone have an idea that you'd like to give us? Here in the middle we have a gentleman. Ben, do we have a microphone? Okay. So just in the middle. Please stand up and tell us your name.
My name is Ashok Som. I'm from ESSEC Business School in Paris. I have a question for Simone. So when these guys come to you, do you track if they are really increasing their age? In fact, let's say they came 20 years before and now they are at 100 years. So do you have a data like this?
Wow, 80 years would be...
He'll tell you in 80 years' time.
8 years would be nice. Yes, that's a big question in our field in longevity, and that's also the reason why you don't find yet drugs which are with the claim of living longer, because it's very difficult to prove that exactly these drugs is helping you living 3 years more. And FDA, as you know, is only approving drugs which are focused on disease, not on living longer. Now there are some tests running on metformin and all these type of new drugs. But so to answer to your question, today we are quite sophisticated in terms of the analysis that we can do, even with the epigenetic. We can tell you the real age. We can tell you how much younger you are compared to your real age. So that's the idea. The idea is to get the clients into a routine and I come back to why 1 week is not enough. You understand? If you come 1 week, I can be a magician, I can do a lot of nice stuff, but am I able to impact in the long term your life? No. So that's why if we create this routine where you come to our center once a year or twice a year, you come to a longevity hub, you take the products, that we can be much more impactful. But yes, now there are ways to test, yes.
So Ben, we have down the front, please.
Yes.
Right up the front. You have to run.
I won't. Who is it for?
Yeah.
Oh. Diana.
Diana.
It's fascinating to hear you speak, and I'm interested in the relationship between mindsets and physical.
Between, excuse me?
Mindset and physical, because of course, when you look at the physical side, and I'm fascinated about longevities, clearly I'm over 50, so that's all I'm thinking about after sustainability, of course.
Have a new client here.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
I mean, the mind is 80% of your physical well-being. So how do you tackle mindsets, not just the physical side?
Sure. Listen, I give you just an example because I like to promote, because it's been a life changer for me, which is transcendental meditation, TM. I don't know if it's something that you know. And I always, and this is part of what you can learn during the week at Clinique La Prairie, is one of the techniques related to the mind. We have breathing techniques, so a lot of techniques related to the mind. And I always joke saying that if you look at all the studies of Harvard on transcendental meditation, people would pay millions to get the pills that transcendental meditation is doing in terms of health, well-being, longevity, less hospitalization, cardiovascular disease, etc. But you don't need to pay 1 million or 2 million, you just need to take 20 minutes twice per day. And people are not doing it. So there are, just to answer to you, that there are a lot of techniques that we know are very, very effective. And that's also the problem when we talk about drugs, and is that we always tend to take the single approach alone. We like this holistic approach on the 4 pillars: medical, important, nutrition, well-being, and movement. Because then maybe there is a new drugs coming out, they are telling you it's fantastic, but they are not telling you that is never going to work as good as 40 minutes of exercise per day. No? So that's why it's important, this holistic approach that we want to foster as much as we can.
And by the way, we're going to have yoga sessions today, so we're all going to come out of much more healthy and happy. So another a question or a statement? Tell me.
A question,
okay.
Actually. Hello, my name is Giulia Gemellaro. I'm a perfumer, and I'm very interested to know your point of view, Mr. Simone, on what do you think of the impact of the power of scent into the well-being of your clients?
That's a good, we started 2 or 3 years ago a research on this. We never went it through. As you know, it's super important in all the well-being therapies. It's super important, the scent. Well-being therapies are, let's call it spa, the traditional spa therapies, to make it simple. But to tell you frankly, we have never done studies on this. I think it's very important, especially when you were talking about the mind part, in terms of relaxation. But we have never done studies on this. We just have some scent that we use during the treatment, but without scientific studies on this.
So we can talk.
We have another question,
yes, sure,
or question or statement. Give us some feedback too. Give us some ideas. I mean, we want to get ideas bouncing around here. It's a mastermind group, so we need to talk. If you have something that you're doing that's different, tell us as well.
Okay, great.
On that thread, thank you very much. An idea for you for the anti-aging or longevity clinic. We can help you with science around olfaction and longevity. For example, the loss of olfactive memory is the strongest biomarker to sign Alzheimer or Parkinson, or spraying a scent on your pillow for your elderly improves their cognitive performance by over 250%. So we hold a lot of that science. We work with the Brain Health Institute precisely on that. I come from a fine fragrance manufacturer. Happy to tell you more
We
about
would
that.
be super interested to deep dive on this, especially with this number that you mentioned.
Yeah, it's what's interesting is that people actually remember scents from their childhood, right? I mean, this is you'll remember you smell something and you instantly have a memory from childhood. That's a really interesting point.
But you see, Richard, what is interesting in what she said is she's already pointing out some numbers. And that's part of our philosophy. If we do it, we need to know that it's working.
Yes. And how do you, I mean, so you have doctors working for you, how do they analyze this? Is there a kind of a laboratory, or how?
Yeah, we have a laboratory with the doctor. We are working a lot with, for example, in Lausanne, there is one of the biggest research pole in Europe in terms of startup in health, which is called Biopole. So we are doing a lot of research with them. The companies that I was mentioning, you doing genetic, epigenetic, are coming from there. And I think we need the Swiss to be proud of this because it's a very interesting incubator center that we have there. Now we have invested recently in another company which is called Volumina, which is also doing bioregenerative material, which could be really a revolution in the field. And it's all starting in Lausanne. It's one of our hubs, and we have other hubs, so we are using internal and external research.
Yeah, I think a lot of it is the genetic advancements that we're seeing, and that again has been written. A lot has been written about that in recent years. So we're going to be
maybe one last question.
One last question. Do we have a last question? Yeah. Yes. Okay, I didn't see over there. Okay.
Hello, Olivia Dordain, co-managing the intellectual property in Richemont. I have 2 quite challenging questions. I'm fascinated by the marketing around clinics, therapy, diagnosis, which for me evoke illness or death.
Evoke?
Sorry?
Numbers.
Evoke?
Numbers.
Numbers.
Yes. So it's evocative of, for me, illness and death.
Illness.
That was my first question. And also, how do you sort of see more and more celebrities, showing their wrinkles, accepting, in a way, their aging?
Yes. I let you answer about the wrinkle then. Illness, that's very interesting. What you say we were saying before, no? 95% of the people coming to the clinic are healthy people that wants to just live better. So there is nothing to do related to illness in what we do. And in fact, this is what the traditional medicine, if you think, has made us thought about. I go to the doctor when I'm sick. No? And I go to the doctor and I tell to the doctor, I have back pain. The doctor is giving to you something for the back pain. Now, what we are talking about is a different approach. First, you don't want to go to the doctor when you are sick. You want to go to the doctor before, not to be sick. So what is called preventive medicine. No, and the approach is not on the disease, but is on the person again. So that's a big change. That's a big step, which is related to preventive medicine and longevity medicine. In fact, I'm a little bit extreme, but I go in your direction. When we say that we want to increase the length of life, the lifespan, is not true, because if you are old and sick, you want to die fast. You don't want to live longer, right? So what we want to do is to increase the health span, so the years where you live an healthy life. So in fact, what we want to avoid is exactly this. Mm.
So not getting to the age of 85 and sort of,
What we've seen for sure is that beauty is all about self-expression, and I guess it has evolved a lot, especially on our platform, where now, you want to appear as you are, or you want to appear covered with makeup. I mean, you have this diversity today, and I think the more authentic you are, the more transparent you are, the biggest community you have. So I think it's going in the right direction in terms of, if you want to have wrinkles, please, show your wrinkles. If you want to be younger, but then, go to a clinic, La Prairie. No, it's really, all types today of expression, and I think this is for the better, and all types of skins and so on.
Then we have one very last question, and then we'll have to go to our next session.
I just wanted to add as a statistic for you, which maybe is just 5% of what we do is aesthetic. Just 5%. 95% is therapies related to other, which are not on the exterior and physical part.
Right in the middle, one very last question, and then we're going to have to move on to our first finalist pitches for the Luxury Innovation Awards, which are going to be following on from us. But this has been quite extraordinary, and I think everybody's really appreciated the input. Two really different aspects as well, so thank you. Yes?
Hey, I have a question about Meta. I just wanted to know, how do you guys deal with the competition of TikTok when it comes to beauty, celebrities, and luxury at large?
We used to say that competition is good for us because we are an innovation company. So I think it's, take Reels, clearly. We launched Reels because we saw it was a new trend. It was a new way a younger generation wanted to communicate with. So I think it's good for us, even if it's challenging sometimes. What is interesting is that what we understand, the difference today between Meta platforms and TikTok is the fact that we have this social component that is clearly part of what we do, and that people interact with the content on our platforms, on Instagram, on Facebook. They take Reels, for instance. We share a lot of Reels. So we are able to build brands because we build these communities, because we drive discussion and conversation. And I would say that this is really what makes the difference in between us and TikTok, and I hope that we will manage to keep that, because it's really what makes the difference for marketing.
Fantastic. Violaine, thank you very much, and thank you both for joining us today. And
thank you very much.
It's been fantastic.